It's over, baby. That's right. Everything we've known about the good old-fashioned console wars are absolutely unequivocally overdone, finito, and kaput. Now, I'm not saying they're over because of the fact that Xbox is going multi-platform and putting all of their games onto PlayStation. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're over because the Switch is now getting its successor of the Switch 2, which will basically just sell like hotcakes because everybody's going to be putting their game on a handheld that is, of course, more powerful than what they have right now. They're just a cell phone processor. No, I'm not saying it because of that. I'm not saying that console wars are over because the PS5 sold 75 million consoles. No. You see, I'm saying the console wars are over because it is now financially irresponsible to make your game exclusive to one specific ecosystem, and that is the best thing of all. Everything that these fanboys have talked about for years, exclusives this, buy your console that, you can only play your game here, acting like petulant children, is going to vanish faster than Thanos snapping his fingers wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, and you're going to see it now. And why? The thing is, we are seeing PlayStation port more of their games to PC incredibly quickly. Now we're at 14 months after its initial release on the console. We're also seeing some games that are live service or multiplayer focused going day and date, and even selling more and having more concurrent players on the PC than the console itself. We've been seeing Xbox put their games onto PC with great success while watching PC Game Pass grow consistently year over year as they are targeting a bigger audience on a different platform. We're seeing Nintendo, well, Nintendo's going to do what they're going to do apparently, but they are fearing PC as well as they have struck down multiple emulators of their games being listed online. Of course, those emulators being able to be run on PCs. You see, it turns out that on Sunday, a little bit of a record was broken on Steam. Steam's concurrent users now reached over 40 million users. We're not talking about daily. We're not talking about all time. We're talking about just concurrent active users on the platform at any given moment. And at that moment in time, they broke a bigger record than they have before. Breaking that 40 million concurrent user mark at any given time basically goes to show that there is a market for so many publishers and developers that are completely ignoring the PC space up until now, by the way, and are saying to themselves, boy, I wonder how we can get some more of that money. Because in the end, every corporation wants one thing and one thing only, and that is in fact money. You see, people will talk about how exclusives matter and how exclusivity is the big thing, or console sales being the big thing. They're wrong. What matters more to any company other than their pride is, of course, how much money they're making. And when you see a company and publisher like Capcom rake in the dough, even though Monster Hunter Wilds was one of the worst PC ports I've reviewed so far this year, not the worst so far, you can clearly see as to why other companies have been taking notice. Hell, in the fiscal year of 2025 for Capcom, they have sold more units on PC in the first half of the fiscal year of 2025 than on the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox, and the PlayStation combined. Let me reiterate that fact for you. Capcom is selling more games on one platform that apparently has been dead since the year 2000s, more so than they are combining every other platform available on every console right now, simply just on the PC platform itself. If that doesn't tell you the buying power of what PC gaming actually is, I don't know what will. And you've seen it before, as PlayStation is now publishing their games onto PC. You see, the better part about all of this is watching these absolute moronic console fanboys talk about console sales, talk about exclusivity, when in fact there are none. If you were to pull up actual exclusive games on the PlayStation 5, you will see that the breadth and depth is nothing more than a shallow pool of spit levied on the actual asphalt on a hot summer's day. Compared to the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, you're seeing a massive depth and chasm of games available specifically for just those specific platforms. And even then, you could in fact go back and emulate emulate all those games onto your Steam Deck and PC. And if you want to do that, well, I've got guides for that as well for your Steam Deck. Trust me, it's really easy and a lot of fun to play those games at a much better resolution than it would be on hardware that is almost 30 years old. Yeah. But you see, here's the part where I want to talk about with consoles and their actual ability or inability to penetrate the market. As we've currently seen people talking about the console market is growing. And the reason why people say the actual console market is growing is because of this one specific quote from Jim Ryan, where he stated that 1 in 4 of those who have bought a PlayStation 5 do not have a PS4, and those around about half are new to the PS network. So it's really nice that we're able to bring in people from the outside. You see, that quote wasn't done in 2024 or 2023 or even 2022. That quote was done on a GQ article that was written in 2021, in the height of the actual pandemic, where no one was able to actually go outside or do anything at all. So we saw a massive group of people who were never buying consoles in the first place or were never going to be console purchasers go out and say to themselves, if I'm going to be stuck at home, I might as well play some video games instead. Because as you continually see throughout those years, those same users in fact do not continually go through and keep buying more consoles or buying more games. We saw the top of the mountain in terms of what would actually be the proper revenue of what companies would expect from COVID. Yet now we're seeing the entire opposite happen, where companies are instead slashing employees nonstop because we can go back outside again, and now sales of games have been tanking and not meeting the actual metrics provided to the companies in the first place. Now, bear in mind, I am using VG charts, but if you look at the actual graph that was listed, we can clearly see that the PS5 is in fact keeping pace with what the PS4 had. So when Phil Spencer said that we lost the most important console generation to lose, he wasn't wrong. People have built up their digital libraries and they're refusing to move over to other spaces, regardless of how many exclusives a console in fact has. When we're seeing these same companies fight for that same 100 million installer user base, then you're going to be seeing companies having to do something else different or drastic in terms of trying to attract new customers or gain more money from those exact same customers. Which of course can point to the fact that there were 12 live service games by PlayStation to be put out directly, which of course all got canceled. And on top of that, Xbox putting their games to other platforms to become a third-party publisher, which honestly, they already have been. PlayStation also following suit as well. Because the moment your exclusive product is on a different platform like PC, you are in fact publishing as a third-party publisher. I don't care what kind of rules you make up in your own head, PlayStation Studios is in fact a third-party publisher as well. And this goes even further for me because if you go back and actually watch now the public interview with Colin Moriarty and Shuhei Yoshida, Colin says this specifically about PC gaming.
The PC stuff I find really interesting because I've been really bullish about. My audience gets mad at me. A predominant number of them get mad at me because I want even more PC push with even single player games day and date, because I think what we're seeing, and I wonder if you have any insight into this, is like you said, these are separate markets. Yeah. And I think that the PC games that Sony releases are actually selling worse than the previous ones. Like Days Gone did really well, and the original Spider-Man and Horizon. They're not doing worse today for any other reason than the novelty, I think, is gone. And it shows that there are really just two groups of people and they're not necessarily going to migrate. So you might as well just go get them. Is that kind of what the evidence or what the data shows, is that there's not much of a loss to? In other words, people think that putting a game on PC means no one's going to want a PlayStation anymore. But I'm like, no, I just don't know that these people were that interested to begin with. And if they are, the only way you can really go and get them is to aggressively go and get them.
Now, I want you to sit there and really process what Colin just said. When you have people on a different platform that are not going to move from that platform because they are either ingrained directly on that platform specifically because they don't have to pay for online, don't have to deal with all the other garbage that comes with console gaming, don't have to buy a new console every 5 to 7 years, can simply keep their library with them consistently all across the board, have access to DRM-free games of their own choosing, can choose to play multiple types of different games.
60 frames per second. 4K textures. Ultra settings. Mouse and keyboard support.
Going out and trying to coax those same individuals to move over to your platform, which is a closed ecosystem, which provides none of those benefits and removes all of their entirely purchased library already, That's not a really smart tactic to try and do. Your best bet is to go out and get them directly. Boy, what if you just replace the words PC gamer with PlayStation gamer? It's almost the same concept that Xbox is doing as well. When you try to look at exactly what Xbox is doing, when they're going ahead and saying, well, we're just going to put our games on PlayStation because it just makes sense, how difficult do you think it's going to be to actually pull someone away from an ecosystem they've already gone ahead and spent hundreds of dollars of games on and built a library with, or an ecosystem with, and have ingrained themselves with? It's the same concept overall. You can get mad all you want about Xbox throwing in the towel, but in reality what they're doing is they're saying, if you're not going to come to us, we're going to go to you. That's exactly what PlayStation is doing with PC gaming. That's what everybody is actually doing with PC gaming. The era of exclusivity is in fact over, because companies have realized it's easier for me to put my game onto your platform than it is for me to try and coax you to buy our piece of shit plastic product for $500 to $800 to make you go ahead and spend another $80 on an online service to then make you spend $70 on a video game that runs worse than the actual PC you've already built yourself and or bought directly from Starforge Systems. Link in the description down below if you want to go ahead and get yourself one right now. Do it. Support the channel. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. You see, companies are seeing right now that it costs too much money to make video games, where games cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and the return on investment is in fact incredibly low across that threshold. And the thing is, the more opportunity you have to sell your game to more people, the more ability you have to in fact recoup those costs or even make more revenue overall. Now, I know people are going to be saying like, well, the console sales are important. If you don't sell the console, then how are you going to go ahead and get games on it, Alex? Hello? It's because people are already ingrained in that ecosystem from the previous generation. Again, Microsoft admitted they lost the worst console generation to lose. People built their entire library in those ecosystems. And then, of course, having the pandemic, being locked inside, people invested even more money into those ecosystems, and they were caught in those trappings. It's why Game Pass on PC has been seeing such insane growth. It's why so many other games have been seeing such growth as well, being put on different platforms, having more sales overall. And that's the process of this entire thing. People can claim all they want that the console is the most important factor, when in reality, it's not. Money is the most important factor. And companies will do and throw away every inhibition they possibly have and every single piece of goodwill they have to get more money out of you and more money into their pockets. They don't care about you as a consumer. They care about how much more money can we in fact make. And I think that's more evident now than ever. You see, when Wario64 made this tweet on Sunday, here are some of the responses that we got to take a look at and see. Here is Xbox still last, making the tweet, what does the blue line mean? Well, is Xbox still last? Those are actual players inside of a game. When you look at 40 million concurrent active users and 20 million of them are in fact playing a game, you'll begin to see that companies do not care if they are playing the game at all. They only care about how many users are on that platform to in fact sell that game to. Trying to use this as like some sort of like, well, you're not playing games is truly the more insane thing, because there are other storefronts and ways to play games on PC than just Steam. PC gamers can use GOG, where they don't have to log into any sort of storefront at all to track what they're doing. They can also be playing games on Riot, which is League of Legends, as well as Valorant, which do not associate with Steam at all whatsoever. They can also be on Xbox Game Pass, being an MAU there as well. Just because Steam is active in the background doesn't negate the fact that these are actual customers and consumers as part of this storefront and this platform that can go through and will be someone that will purchase a video game that these companies were never going to sell to in the first place until they realize that there is a market available to them that is completely untapped. Here's another personal favorite of mine that I caught the other day as well. This is Jeffrey Storvinson. He says, rookie numbers. The Switch has sold 160 million consoles. Steam tried to copy the Switch and failed miserably. PC gaming is dying, and Switch 2 will make all the other platforms obsolete. I want Nintendo fanboys to come back. Y'all have been quiet for way too long. And sitting here talking about the actual Steam Deck being a failure when you have no idea what the expectations of the Steam Deck actually were truly is ridiculous in the first place. Having the Switch sell 160 million units is honestly very impressive. But the thing is, that's lightning in a bottle. We had it with the Wii. It didn't happen with the Wii U at all. And honestly, the Wii U died so the Switch could run. And if it wasn't for the Wii U failing in the first place, you wouldn't have had the Switch to begin with. But you see, here's the issue that we're seeing right now. If you were to look at the total active users on Steam alone, here's some stats that I pulled up for you, Jeffrey. You see, according to blacklinko.com, I don't know if they're reputable enough, but I've seen this number being floated around some other places, so I wanted to use that here. Now, if this is wrong, just letting you know, I tried to find an actual direct source like Statista, but I couldn't find it there. But this is the number that I've been seeing being shown up through Google searches, so use that with a grain of salt. Steam has 132 million monthly active users. That is 132 million monthly active users. That's not total users. That's just MAUs alone. That's not counting every single other user that is available on Steam directly. 69 million people use Steam on a daily basis because we're looking at concurrent active users, not daily active users. The Steam catalog in the US includes over 100,000 games, and on top of that, 7,885 games were added to Steam in 2024 of May. And PUBG holds the record for the most concurrent Steam players at 3.26 million, while Monster Hunter Wilds on its opening weekend broke over 1 million concurrent active players in that game alone. So Jeffrey, you can talk about console sales all you want again by the Switch and how you think the Switch 2 is going to make all platforms obsolete, but the funniest part about this would be if Nintendo would ever sit there and say, boy, there's another 100+ million users that don't have our product that we could totally sell our games to. There may be a tide turning, and if Nintendo ever does put their games onto PC or Steam, that's going to be the funniest day of all. And I'll keep this tweet for posterity, trust me. And if you want a more drastic look at how PC gaming is becoming more ubiquitous with gaming in general, Brad Sams made this post directly saying, this is more than the entire Xbox Series generation if they all logged on at the exact same time. If you want to sit back and think about that, just right off the top of your noggin, where the entire Xbox Series user base were to log in, it still would not be enough to beat this number in terms of concurrent active users. Not monthly active users, not yearly, not total, simply just concurrent active users. And people trying to point and be like, well, look at the blue line. It's half of you guys playing games. PCs are more ubiquitous than just playing games. You can use them for far many other things as well. So trying to use this as some sort of like gotcha really is a very kind of take, because you can do so much more with a PC. You can play your games at different places on your PC, and you're not required to be beholden to one specific place directly. Now, this also explains as to why Xbox and PlayStation have been focusing so heavy on PC gaming in general. They know these 40 million concurrent active users are not going to leave this storefront or platform because they've already invested money and or time and or have been on that platform for X amount of years. And just like Colin said, why try to sit there and make them come to you when you can just go and get them instead? And that's really what I want to talk about the most with this video. The market for video games has exponentially erupted and exploded with possible targets of actually making more revenue and money than ever before. The ability for developers, publishers, and other companies to make more money from different kinds of customers truly is there and right for the picking. The difference is, though, are they willing to make the jump to go ahead and target those people in the first place, or are they too full of their own pride to do it? I don't feel like Xbox is, and I feel like if the rumors are true and their handheld truly is in fact a PC hybrid, you'll be seeing a much bigger access and ability for people to go ahead and play more games and have more MAUs on that platform than you will be seeing overall rather than just raw console sales. Video games are too expensive to make, they cost too much money to publish, and people want to have a bigger return and watch the line go up every single year. And trying to downplay and ignore the PC gaming landscape truly is going to be at the downfall of a lot of people's egos. Because the thing is, these are customers and consumers that weren't targeted before. And the thing is, if you don't target them correctly, believe me, they will let their voices be known and they will let their voices be heard. Right, PlayStation? Right. So yes, the console war is in fact over, and the true victor has been crowned as AMD. Surprise! Who knew? With all that being said, though, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. What do you think about getting yourself on the PC gaming? Are you going to be staying on console as well? And where do you think gaming is going to go in the future? My prediction, everything is going to be third party. Everybody's going to be trying to compete for your dollar. And of course, that will lead to proper and true competition overall. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below with all that being said. Now, if you liked today's video, thank you. And if you didn't like it, fuck you. But if you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 78,000 subscribers. And I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want to have Discord access and emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern on this channel. Trust me, it's a hell of a show every single weekend. You'll love it. Trust me, the community here is amazing. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!